Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Master Duel Snake Eye deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Meli. And this deck is one of the most powerful decks to be able to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel currently because of how consistent this deck is and the amazing boards you can make with this build. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Meli some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Snake Eye Ash. This card is an extremely important 3-of and the best starter in the entire deck. That if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. You can also send 2 face-up cards you control to the graveyard, including this card, to special summon a Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except another copy of Ash, which is an amazing ability to use this card, especially since this card is a 1-card combo to make absolutely crazy boards. And the card you're usually searching off this card's ability is one of your 2 copies of Popular. Popular is definitely a 2-of in the build because you always want to search this card off your copy of Snake Eye Ash. And this card is believed if it's added to your hand except by drawing it, then you can special summon this card. And if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Snake Eye spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a fire monster in your graveyard and place it face up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell, which just gets you an additional card on your side of the field, which is insane. This card is definitely a 2-of in the build because it's so easy to get to with your copy of Ash. We then play a single copy of Oak. Oak is just a good 1-of in the build because this card has the ability that if this card is normal or special summon, you can target one of your level 1 fire monsters that is banished or in the graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it. And it also has the ability you can send 2 face-up cards that you control to the graveyard, including this card, to special summon a Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, just like your copy of Ash, which is an amazing effect. This card is a definite 1-of in the build, but I feel like you only need a single copy of Oak because it does require a little bit of setup to be able to get cards banished or in the graveyard. We then play 2 copies of Flameberg Dragon. Flameberg Dragon is insane. This card is basically Soul Charge, which is just insane. It lets you target a face-up monster on the field or in the graveyard and place it face up in the owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. And during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target a monster treated as a continuous spell on the field, special summon to your field. But the broken effect about this card is if this card is sent from the hand or the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 level 1 fire monsters from your graveyard, which is a really insane ability just to get 2 monsters back on your side of the field so you can use them as link material to keep climbing into other cards. This card is insane as a 2-of in the build. You don't want to play 3 because it bricks at 3, but at 2 it's perfect. We then play 3 copies of Diabellstar. Diabellstar is definitely a 3-of in the build, and this is one of our main boss monsters of the deck, and an amazing combo piece that you can special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, but you can only special summon it once per turn this way, which is a really cool thing about this card. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually set a simple spell or trap directly from your deck to your side of the field, and there's a bunch of really cool options in this build, but this card is definitely a 3-of because it's an amazing boss monster. We then play a single copy of Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron is really good to help us synchro climb into the exact cards we want to make in this deck, which is really cool because you can step into cards like Baron de Fleur or Borreload Savage Dragon, which is really cool to be able to go into. We then play a single copy of Karakuri. Karakuri is just a really good hand trap in the deck. You only need a single copy of it in this build, but it's just an amazing card to be able to use in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. 3 copies of Maxi because it is a Master Duel deck profile, so this card is definitely a 3-of. In just about every Master Duel deck, you've got to play 3 copies of Maxi because this card is so important to let you draw a card every time your opponent special summons. We then play 3 copies of Effect Veiler just to stop your opponent's monster effects, which is really insane to be able to do. And then we play 2 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is really good at breaking your opponent's board. We also play 3 copies of Imperm later. So we play a bunch of hand traps in this deck to be able to stop our opponent in their tracks, which is why this deck is so consistent, because if your copy of your Snake Eye Ash resolves, you're pretty much going full combo. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. For the spells, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is definitely a one-of in the build, because this card lets us basically special summon Snake Eye Ash from the deck by sending a monster from our hand to the graveyard, because this card lets us special summon level 1 monsters to the field. We then play a single copy of Sinful Spool's Snake Eye. This card is great to help you bump monsters on the field into the back row, which is just really cool to deal with your opponent's boss monsters. It's definitely a one-of in the deck. We then play a single copy of the original Sinful Spool Snake Eye. This card is great to be able to put on your side of the field with your copy of Diabellstar, because it lets you send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard to special summon a level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck to your side of the field, which is a really cool ability because we have a lot of options you can actually summon off this card, which is really amazing, especially cards like Jet Synchron, so we can start going in for synchro plays. But this card also has the ability you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target a Snake Eye or Diabellstar monster in the graveyard, and then add a level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand, then place the targeted monster on the bottom of the deck, which is a really cool effect to help you recycle resources and use this card as a searcher. We then play a single copy of Divine Temple of the Snake Eye. This card is insane because a lot of our Snake Eye monsters have low attack points, and this card gives them 1100 attack points, which is so cool about this card, and it's just an amazing one-of combo piece in the deck. We then play a single copy of Crossout Designator. We play basically every relevant hand trap in the entire game, so this card is really good to stop our opponent's hand traps in their tracks. We then play 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 2-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play 3 copies of Bonfire. Bonfire is a definite 3-of in this build because this card basically lets us add Snake Eye Ash directly from our deck to our hand, which is absolutely insane to instantly get to our copy of Snake Eye Ash off this card's ability. It lets us add any level 4 lower power monster from our deck to our hand, essentially being the Rhoda for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Wanted. Wanted is also definitely a 3-of in the deck and is basically like 3 copies of Rhoda for Diabellstar, which is just really cool about this card. And it also lets us draw a card by targeting a Sinful Spool spell or trap in the graveyard or that's banished, and then you basically place it on the bottom of the deck and then draw a card, which is just a really cool card. You do have to banish this card, but that's totally fine. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 3, and that's going to be 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is an amazing 3-of in the build, just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. Plus, with the amount of hand traps you're playing in this build, you're basically going to have an answer to everything your opponent does, which is amazing, and I absolutely love this card in the build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of the Bestower of Flames. This card is a crazy powerful one-of in the deck, because this card makes it so you can't special summon monsters except for fire monsters, but that's totally fine because you're basically usually just going into fire monsters and you can easily link this card away. This card has a really cool ability that also, during your main phase, you can special summon 1 fire monster from your graveyard, and if a monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field while this card's in the graveyard, you can actually target a fire monster you control and a monster your opponent controls, destroy them, and if you do, special summon this card, which is an amazing effect combined with our copy of our Swarm Ship, which is just really cool to combine it with the copy of the Whale, because it just goes so well in this deck. I absolutely love these 2 cards in the deck, and they're just really cool to be able to climb into, especially since you do get to locked into fire, where your copy of Princess is on your side of the field, so you can easily bring back any monster from your graveyard that's fire, and then link them both away to make the copy of Whale, getting your copy of Princess live in the graveyard, which is cool to be able to do, and getting a boss monster on the field. We then play a single copy of Zelantis. Zelantis is really cool to be able to basically reset the field, which is just amazing about this card. This card is definitely a one-of in the deck and just a really amazing card overall. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's great in the deck as a one-of to be able to pop multiple cards on the field, and it comes out absolutely massive. One copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really easy to make in the build to give you multiple monster negates and just is a really cool card overall. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. One copy of Selene because Diabellstar is a spellcaster, so we can make this card and then climb into stuff like Access Code, which is really nice to be able to do. We play a single copy of Hita for the mirror match, or anybody that drops an Ash Blossom against us. We can basically bring it back to our side of the field, link climb into a copy of Princess, and then bring back a monster to our side of the field and climb into the copy of Whale, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of the Dark Charmer because we also play Dark Monsters in the deck, which is amazing about this card because it's very good to be able to play in this build. We then play a single copy of Sprite Elf because this card is still playable in Master Duel, which is insane. It's really good because it just brings back monsters from the graveyard, and it's overall just a fantastic card in the deck. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is great in the deck to help you make cards like Nightmare Unicorn, or cards like Appaloosa during the opponent's turn. We play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh is amazing in this deck and is a part of the combo, which is just really cool about this card, to get cards off your side of the field. We play a single copy of Baron because we can make this card very easily, and it is basically a walking negate. It's really easy to step into this card. It's just an overall fantastic boss monster that can pop cards on the field and is a walking negate. We play a single copy of Borreload Savage Dragon, which is also a walking negate and very easy to step into, especially with the amount of link monsters we play in this build. You can easily summon out a copy of Jet Synchron to your side of the field, and then make this card using a copy of Diabellstar and Jet Synchron, which is amazing. And then we also play a single copy of Formula Synchron, which is very easy to make in the build as well, because you just use any level 1 plus Jet Synchron to make this card, which is going to let you draw a card and then use this, plus a level 8 like Flameberg, to be able to step into Barrel and Defleur, which is just super cool about this deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Snake Eye before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's probably the most powerful deck currently in Master Duel, especially with the amount of hand traps you can play in the deck and how Snake Eye Ash is just a one card combo to go full combo in the deck, and it's basically just crazy powerful. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there's the income part notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.